down to the end of the video, but we're going to talk about contraception a little bit because I think it's very important for all my young girls and boys and all of y'all who are young watching me, because I'm going to tell you a little story about contraception and me. Growing up obviously in India, I feel like even my parents never spoke to me about birth control pills or condoms, even for that fact. I had to grow up and learn it for myself, so watch like ads and like all of that, and then figure it out on my own. So very recently, I'm 29, like I said, very recently, like up until like 7 months before, I contacted Divya for this very reason, because I wanted to get on contraceptive pills. And I just wanted to understand how it works, because birth control pills is a very scary term. When I tell all my girlfriends, they're like, you're on birth control pills? And I'm just like, it's really not that big of a deal, because I used to think it was before I started taking it. And it just is like a very negative term for some reason, but then she educated me. Divya's like, listen, it's a very normal thing to do if you don't want to get pregnant at this point. So I recently got married last year, and I really want to enjoy my marriage, and I don't want any accidental pregnancies. I don't want that to happen. I want a very planned one if I ever wanted one. So being the adult that I am, I wanted to like go full on adulting and be like, I want to be responsible for the choices I make and prevent anything that can happen. So once she started telling me about birth control pills, I immediately got on it, and she asked me if I was comfortable with it, if anything's happening to your body, and so far I was completely fine. It suited me really well, and I'm on it now, and it's been like 7-8 months that I've been on it, and it's been absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna let Divya take over and talk to you about the different types of contraceptions, like condoms, birth control pills, etc. There are many, and then we're gonna talk a little bit more about it. So take it away.
So before I get on to explaining stuff, Malvika, like we've had this whole conversation, I want to know what you know about contraception.
Yeah.
So basically our approach with contraception is usually called a cafeteria approach.
Okay.
Why we call it that is because you go to a cafe and you can select whatever you want.
Yes.
So there's so many methods of contraception available in the market, available with your gynac, available in your own country, that you can choose what you want to take up according to your age, according to your body, according to what your needs are, according to your previous medical or surgical history.
Yeah.
So here's a few contraceptives over here. Can you tell me what you know about what?
Yeah, so definitely condom, and I've heard about female condoms, oral contraception for sure, UID, definitely I know that, and surgical. Heard about a diaphragm as well, vaginal douche. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. This is amazing. You know most of it. I'm so happy and so impressed with the knowledge that you have. Yeah. So moving on, I'm quickly going to tell you what each contraceptive method can do and help us with. So the male condom and the female condom, both of these are barrier contraceptives.
Correct.
When I talk about barrier contraceptives, it means that I am not allowing the sperm to enter the cervix. It's a barrier, right? Gate band kar diya, allow hi nahi kar rahe hain. So condom comes under that, a female condom comes under that, hormonal ring, again that's for the female, that comes under that. And then we have the diaphragm cap, that comes under barrier contraception.
Yeah.
Now the best, cheapest and most cost effective contraceptive is the condom.
Correct.
It's as cheap as 1 rupee in our country.
Yeah.
And it's freely available by the government for people who need it.
Yeah.
It's freely available in gynac OPDs all across the country. So we really advise men to use it because it's so easy to use, right? Moving on to the female condom, there is a particular process of using it. Then comes the oral contraceptive pills, which are also known as the birth control pills.
Yes.
Like you said, it sounds very scary. It has a lot going on around it. People say that it causes weight gain, it causes acne, it causes mood swings, all of that. But please let me tell you that medicine and gynecology have advanced to the extent that there are such newer drugs and there are such good drugs that are giving these hormones to you in very low doses, and they are very effective. So I'd rather have someone be on the oral contraceptive and be tested often than get an unwanted pregnancy.
Correct.
That's as easy as that. So obviously there are a lot of history taking. There's a lot of history taking and a lot of questions that go into starting oral contraceptives. Like I had even asked you. That is when I'll decide to start you on an oral contraceptive. The hormones that go into it are very different. So which contraceptive should be given to which woman at what age has to be decided by your gynecologist.
Okay.
So all of these in their own ways are temporary methods of contraception.
Correct.
Either it's a hormonal injection, either it's barrier contraception, either it's oral.
Yeah.
You can go to your gynac and decide what you want. want.
Yeah.
If y'all want to go and watch videos online about how it's done, which is better, like I said, choose what's best for yourself after consultation with your doctor.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about permanent methods of contraception.
Yes.
That is the sterilization operation. So what happens is the fallopian tube, like I told you, that transports the egg. If that tube is cut completely, there will not be any transport, right?
Correct.
So that is called a tubectomy in a female, and in a male it's called the vasectomy. If you don't allow the sperm to go out, there is penetration, but there's no sperm going in.
Correct.
So vasectomy in the male is permanent sterilization, and a tubectomy in the female.
Yeah, so if you decide not to have babies ever in your life, this is the method preferably.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. These are very easy procedures. They are daycare procedures. They happen in within 15 to 20 minutes itself.
Wow.
And please go ahead and get that, but not without prior consultation.
Definitely. And these are some other things you guys can look up online, because it'll take ages if we sit here and explain, but these are the most common ones used. Okay, so for birth control, so how do they really work? Because I was very interested to know, like, how can you just not get pregnant when you're on birth control pills? I was so fascinated. So what I do is I take it every 21 days.
Right.
Yeah, every day for 21 days I take it, and then the pack gets over, right? And then I get my periods in the next 2 days for around 5 to 6 days, and then I start again. So I'm taking this every single day apart from my periods. So people on birth control pills can have unprotected sex without the condom.
Absolutely.
And the guy can ejaculate in. And would you still get pregnant if you're on birth control pills?
No,
There's
you will not.
Okay.
So basically, remember the process where I told you that
Yes.
ovulation happens in the middle
Yes.
of every cycle? These birth control pills have combinations of the hormones estrogen and progesterone
Yeah.
in certain quantities. Now, if the quantities in our body are at a particular level, these hormones make it reach at such a level that ovulation does not occur. No egg coming out. Even if a sperm goes in, no egg meets no sperm.
Correct.
So no ovulation, no pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's the basic principle of oral contraceptives. It's given in different values. The amount of estrogen progesterone could differ depending on the age of the patient, depending on their previous history. But
Yeah.
that's how it works. Like you said, you've understood your pill very well. It's given for a cycle of 21 days.
Correct.
And there is a 7-day break period.
Correct.
So you take the pill for 21 days at the same time every day, preferably at night, because it
Yeah.
contains hormones. It may cause a little nausea and a little bloating, but that's about it. With the newer drugs, that's about it. In any case, if a particular oral contraceptive is causing acne breakout or a lot of weight
Yeah.
gain, it can always be changed.
Yes.
There's no issue with that at all.
Yeah, so I mean, the I feel like the birth control pill is highly effective. It's highly effective. You don't get really, initially you're scared, but then eventually you get used to it. Your body learns about it, and then it's amazing. It's amazing. Don't be afraid. Talk to your gynac about it. Get on the birth control pill if you can after speaking to your gynac, and it is the best thing you can do in your younger years, because it's going to prevent you from unwanted pregnancy, right? And even if the guys usually don't want to use a condom, this and that, you can protect yourself from pregnancy by taking the pill, right? So what age can one start the birth control pills? Because I see a lot of people in the US and stuff, they start their daughters very young on birth control pills, when they're 12, 13, and they go on for life. In India, that's not the case. I'm 30 and I didn't know about birth control pills. So what age can you talk to your gynac about these?
Absolutely. So, Malvika, I wouldn't obviously not put light on the fact that
Yeah.
having any pill for a very long period of time
Correct.
could eventually have certain number of
Okay.
side effects, however advanced the pill may be.
Okay.
So, even when we do have patients on the birth control pills, we do get tested. We do get them
Correct.
tested often for their blood tests. We check their blood pressure. We keep asking them history, how they're feeling about it. So I would recommend that in a country like ours, where sexual contact begins much later and women are not too open to being intimate, they can start the pill around the age of 18 or 19 if they
Okay.
want to. So at that point, still I would recommend that they use the barrier method of contraception,
the
but
condom.
again, that's not 100% foolproof like nothing else is.
Yeah.
So yes, I would be
Okay.
advising that someone may start the pill by 18 years of age. In women with PCOS, we do start them on contraceptives if required by the age of 16.
Okay.
So that's okay as well. Like I said, we have a lot of low dose hormone pills right now, so they're completely safe to start. provided we do regular monitoring of that.
Okay, so I have noticed since I've been on the pills that my period flow is much more lighter and it's not super heavy. How come? Like, why is that? It's very light.
So like I told you, we are not causing ovulation,
Correct.
right? So because there's no egg, there's nothing to shed.
Yeah.
So there's hardly any endometrial lining. So these are your hormones acting up plus the additional hormones that we are giving, right? So your own hormones plus the hormones from the OCPs are not causing enough endometrium to shed and the unfertilized egg to be removed out. So if there's not much material to get released, there's going to be very less flow or spotting.
Yeah.
Or sometimes even no period at all. Now if there's no period, we would still recommend that, you know, the female gets a pregnancy test done to be very sure of it.
Yeah.
But being on the oral contraceptive and having very light flow periods, it's absolutely normal.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you the difference between the birth control pill and the morning after pill, because I feel like a lot of us get confused, and can you just take us through the difference between the two?
Yes, absolutely. I have seen so many women taking the morning after pill, also known as the emergency contraceptive pill. They are popping it like marshmallows. Please don't do that. It's not the way to take that pill. If you need to have contraception, please make sure you're on a pill regularly or you're using the condom at least. Now the difference between these two is that the emergency contraceptive pill has a very high dose of a hormone to prevent pregnancy.
Okay.
Right? Every time we take this hormone, we are causing an abnormality and an irregularity in our own menstrual cycle. So each time you're doing that to your cycle, you'll eventually have a very heavy flow, or you'll have light flow, you'll have a lot of cramping, nausea, vomiting. So this is to be taken only in emergency situations. So in situations where you've had sex and maybe the condom has broken, in cases like rape, in cases where, you know, you've forgotten to take your regular contraceptives, in cases where you know, your partner, your partner has ejaculated, where you're trying to do a pull-out method and it doesn't work.
Oh please, can we just for 2 minutes, just please talk about the pull-out method here.
Yes, please understand that the pull-out
does
method
not work. You will get pregnant, my girls, if you do this pull-out. Oh, we're safe, we're not pregnant.
Exactly. So a lot of males take it upon themselves that I have so much control, bro, I won't ejaculate inside. It's
but there's
not
pre-cum,
how it
right?
works. You can get pregnant with pre-cum, and pull-out does not always work. Please understand this, because some amount of semen is always going
there
into your vagina and reaching your cervix and probably reaching your uterus. Please don't allow that to happen to yourselves. Even if your partner is very confident, if your partner is very sure, you can't always be sure, right?
That's very irresponsible, I feel, on both, you know, both their sides, because it's unprotected sex.
Absolutely.
Even whether you pull out.
So it's a very, very crude and traditional method of contraception. It used to be used in times where we didn't have so many things for contraception, but it has a very high failure rate. Pregnancies do occur. Please don't think that pull-out and coitus interruptus, as we call it, is your method of contraception. You cannot make it in this day and age. Please understand that.
Yep. So either you get on birth control pills, like on the daily pill, or if you think that, you know, you might have made a mistake, or, you know, then you take the emergency contraceptive pill, which you get over the counter, but not to be taken like Tic Tacs every time you have sex. Okay, now that we've understood the menstrual cycle, I really want to touch upon PCOS for a bit, because I feel like I get a lot of messages from so many of you all asking me about PCOS directly, and I thought, why not, I will direct the question to Divya. So can you just tell us about PCOS, PCOD, break it down a little bit and how to prevent it?
Absolutely. So PCOD and PCOS, Malvika, are basically the same thing.
Yes.
They're just terms used differently. PCOD was polycystic ovarian disorder or disease that was used earlier. We now call it polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah.
Why is it called a syndrome? Because it's a cluster of a lot of symptoms and a lot of things happening together in different parts of the body. So when there are so many things happening together, it's known as a syndrome, right? So what happens is, when it's polycystic, you understand that there are many cysts. So the ovaries are enlarged with multiple follicles. Where there's supposed to be just 8 to 10 follicles, there are 10 to 20 to 25 follicles in the ovaries. The ovaries get enlarged.
Okay.
So what happens in this is, a lot of women present with amenorrhea. Now amenorrhea means not having a period at all.
Okay.
Oligomenorrhea means having very reduced period flow and reduced increased frequency of flow. Like people are getting their period after 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
So, you know, people are coming with these symptoms, and then they have acne breakouts,
Yes.
they have weight gain,
Facial
they
hair.
have baldness, facial hair. Facial hair is known as hirsutism.
Yeah.
So you must have heard of these large terms like hyperandrogenism and hirsutism and anovulation, all of this happening in PCOS. These are the complicated medical terms that we use. But if one is having a particular symptom, it does not exactly mean that they're having PCOS.
Got it.
PCOS needs a lot of evaluation.
Okay.
That said, I would like to mention that if you're experiencing irregular menses, if the frequency of your period has enlarged a lot and you're getting it every 2 to 3 months, or you're having, you know, amenorrhea for a lot of months, not getting your period, that is not normal.
Okay.
You need to get evaluated. If you're suddenly experiencing acne breakouts, mood swings, depression,
Okay.
balding like, you know, the
Okay.
males, and a lot of hair fall, all of this, these could be characteristics of PCOS. Only when you go to your gynecologist, all of this will be evaluated. We'll come to a diagnosis and then decide what treatment to put you on. Now, you must have heard in a lot of places that OCPs is the treatment for PCOS. I cannot stress this enough. It is not.
OCPs?
Oral contraceptive pills.
Okay.
It is not.
Okay.
Oral contraceptive pills will only help you regularize your period. PCOS is purely a complicated syndrome which needs you to work on it a lot.
Correct.
So how it's caused, you
Yeah.
asked me. Obesity could be a factor.
Okay.
Because when one is obese, there could be something known as insulin resistance. Now, insulin is a hormone that helps us regulate the sugars in our body.
Correct.
Now, if there is insulin resistance, means your body is resisting insulin, right?
Correct.
So it's not helping it, it's not letting it do its job.
Correct.
So when insulin can't do its job, the sugars and the fats in your body are increasing,
Correct.
which is leading to obesity,
Obesity.
which is leading to more insulin resistance. So it's a cycle.
Yes.
All of this is increasing the male hormone in our body, which is
Yes.
known as testosterone.
Testosterone.
That is why we see acne, we see facial hair growth, we see balding,
Okay.
all of what happens in males. So that is known as hyperandrogenism,
Got it.
right? So these are the things that happen in PCOS. One must be wary of what is going on. One must understand that they need to have a healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
We are in a day and age where we are stressing so much with our work. We are not having a healthy lifestyle. We are not having regular sleep patterns. There's a lot of addictions like alcohol, smoking.
Yes.
So there's a lot of stress factors going on in our body, which are major risk factors for PCOS.
Okay, so these might be the causes of PCOS.
Absolutely. And also family history of diabetes,
Yes.
family history of insulin resistance, all of this. Then there are genetic disorders.
Correct.
So there's a large, there's a large cluster of
Correct.
risk factors and causes of PCOS, which even we are still trying to find out and do research about. But how you can prevent it
Yes.
is by leading a healthy lifestyle.
Oof, it's at the top.
Exactly. So when I just say lead a healthy lifestyle, I can't tell you that eat right, sleep well. That's not it, right? When I tell you eat right, make sure you're getting all your vegetables in, make sure you're getting vitamins and minerals in, make sure you're not having any foods or a lot of foods with additives and preservatives like
Got
the
it.
packaged food stuff, because they have large quantities of salt and sugar.
Got it.
And the preservatives are known to cause insulin resistance. So avoiding that will help a lot.
Okay. Daily
Alcohol,
exercise.
smoking, yes, daily exercising, and mix it up. One day you do yoga, one day you do strength training, one day you do HIIT. Just mix up your exercises, confuse your body, make your body, keep going, keep being active. And when I say have a good 8 hours of sleep, I don't mean you sleep from 4 a.m. to 12 p.m., right?
Yeah.
That's not your circadian rhythm. That shouldn't be your cycle. It should be 12 to 8 or
Yes.
1 to 9.
Yes.
Try and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Try being stress free, listen to great music, be with people you love,
Yes.
things like that. So having a healthy lifestyle could be subject specific.
Yes.
You could think that this is healthy for you and I could think it's not. But on the whole, these are aspects that, help us understand that this is how a healthy lifestyle can be lived, and this is how our hormones can be regulated normally, and our own body could help us fight PCOS by itself.
Wow. That is incredible, because I've seen so many girls like struggle with PCOS and they literally cry. They're like, I don't know why I have this. I don't know. You like this, nothing. Don't blame yourself. There are things you can do to improve it. So just get on it. Just do it. Just exercise daily. Take a walk. Just drink a lot of water. Like, I think you can reduce the amount of stress that's going into your body. So why don't you?
Absolutely. And people, very often mistake an obese girl with definitely having PCOS. A lean girl can have PCOS too. It's not related. Although obesity is a huge factor when it comes to PCOS. So I'll tell you a small incident where I had a patient who had diagnosed with PCOS. And I honestly did not want to start her on the pill till she tried to change her lifestyle and try to lose some weight. And she was overweight. And she thought of that as very insensitive of me to tell her. So I feel really bad, when I have to try and break this down to someone, and there's no way to put it right.
Correct. There's no
weight
right
loss
way.
has to be done. Fat loss has to be done.
Correct.
I know it's difficult. I personally have always been an overweight person since school. And very honestly, there have been times I've been underconfident about my body. I've felt bad about how I am, how I'm genetically made. And trust me, I am the most active person you'll meet.
Yeah.
I work out for 1 to 1.5 hours a day. I'm active all day. I sleep well. I eat right. I do all of that. But this is how my body is.
Yes.
So when someone tells me I need to lose weight and it's someone I'm close to or it's my doctor, I'm going to take it in the right spirit.
Yes.
So if you're suffering from PCOS and your doctor tells you you need to try and lose weight and you need to exercise, please take it in the right spirit and understand what they mean when they try to tell you that the weight could be a major factor in causing the PCOS and making it more aggressive. So no body shaming here. All sizes are acceptable, all sizes are great and beautiful, but there is a lot of abnormality with obesity. So we need to prevent that, right?
Yeah, and it's really hard to get pregnant, I hear, when you're PCOS.
Absolutely, yes. So PCOS is one of the causes of infertility, but it does not mean that if one has PCOS, they'll definitely be infertile.
Yeah. Alright guys, that's all we have for you. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video and you found it informative and educational. Please share this video with everybody you know, because I'm sure they're gonna learn something from this. So thank you Divya for coming, taking the time out and just like explaining every little thing that we know. That's so basic, by the way. We should be knowing this in the first place, but like even I didn't know all of this for a long time. So don't be embarrassed. Just take your time to do your research and learn more and more about your body. It's only gonna take you to a better place. So thank you.
You're most welcome. I'm so happy we could do this together and and today if we've reached out to even 10 girls and if even 10 girls have understood all about period myths and all about contraception, all about safe sex, I would sleep well at night.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Malvika. It has really helped me, and not just in the part where I can, give my expertise and tell you what I know from my aspect, but at least help a lot of girls get educated about things they don't learn in school or they can't learn at home.
Yeah.
So thanks.
You're so welcome. I'm so honored to have you, and we might have a part 2, so leave it down in the comment section below if you want to see Divya back on my channel, because there's a lot that I want to do with her, a lot of topics I do want to cover. So let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.